All right, are we already having technical difficulties on this live feed? Happy that you could join us. I've got a couple of minutes, and in these couple minutes, I want to share with you 4 things that you should be doing right now. Not in the spring, not after the Christmas season. You should be doing them right now to be thinking, to be calculating whether or not it's a good idea to move. And I know that with the winter, coming, and with Christmas and the New Year's, it's almost like there's some anticipation building for a lot of families, because we all know that the springtime is when most people, for whatever reason, they decide to move. And so you might be getting that feeling that, should I move? Maybe we should talk about moving. If you're a husband and wife team, you should be thinking about, the 4 steps that we're going to talk about right now. And step number 1 is so critical, and we should be thinking about this probably monthly, but this is the best time of year, I guess. If you had to only pick one time, this is the best time to be thinking about it. It is to review, number 1, review your current living conditions. Are you happy with where you live? Have you ever thought about that? Is this really where you want to live? Is your commute doable? If you have to commute to work, are you okay with the amount of time that you spend in traffic? Or would you prefer to shorten your commute time? Are you okay living so close to your family? Or are you okay living so far away from your family? Maybe you want to change that. Maybe you are not in love with the part of town or the neighborhood where you are. You want to be somewhere more quiet. Or you want to be in a more young and hip neighborhood. Or you want to be in a more appreciating neighborhood than as far as home values go. Maybe you don't love your home the way that you should, and you sense that you're probably not putting in the work and you're probably not putting in the money to keep your home value in line with everybody else's in the neighborhood. If you're not happy with where you live, and I've said this before, if you're not happy with where you live, if you don't love where you live, you tend not to put much money into the upkeep of it. And that's important to do when you're a homeowner, because at the end of the day, 90% of us are going to have to sell our homes in order to move. And selling means we're going to have to get the most money possible for it. And the way that we do that is we keep the property updated and we keep it in good shape. And that can only be done by an owner who really cares about and loves that property. So if you're not in the position of where you really love where you live, you're already high risk for being somebody who's not going to make the most money when they go to sell their home. If you wait, if you're proactive about it, there's still hope. But that is the first thing to do. Review your situation. Now, if you love where you live, more power to you. I'm really happy for you. Most people aren't. Most people picked where they lived based on, familial circumstances or life circumstances from many years ago, and they don't review as often as they should whether or not the home they live in meets their needs now. So, step number 1 for 2018, looking in the spring of 2018, if you're thinking about moving, step number 1 is right now, review where you live and think about whether or not it meets your personal needs, whatever those are, or your family's needs. The second thing I want you to review right now, if we're considering making a move in 2018, in spring of 2018, is to review your credit. And credit is something that is very important. If you're going to get a mortgage, it is vital that you have good credit. And your credit can be very volatile if you miss just a couple payments on something like a mortgage, or if you miss payments on a credit card or something. What was a very solid credit score can, erode dramatically, and then you're left with a subprime credit score, And that's not a position you want to be in going into your next home purchase. Now, let's assume that you've got great credit. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations to you for keeping up on that sort of thing. Way to keep your bills paid. And you are in the best possible position to buy your next home. If you're not one of these very few people who's got excellent credit, why not take the next 30, 60, 90 days and make a commitment to yourself that you're going to clean up your credit and then that's however you want to do it, right? Maybe you've got bills that are in collections and you need to go settle those either by yourself or you're going to hire a credit repair company to help you with that. And just so you're aware, there is a credit repair company that I work with my clients. So if you do need recommendations on that, let me know. But in the event that you don't have great credit, you're either going to tackle that issue of maybe past bills being in collections. You're going to tackle that by yourself or with a credit repair company. Or you're going to make a more conscious effort of paying your bills on time, monitoring your credit score, and then trying to get your credit score to a high level so that you can get a great interest rate from your lender and get an awesome rate on your homeowner's insurance. A lot of people don't know that, but your homeowner's insurance is also impacted by credit score. Okay? So another thing you should be doing right now, and it sometimes may take 90, maybe even 120 days to get credit in the condition it needs to be in so that you can buy. You may think that you've got great credit right now, but if you don't and you go to pull the trigger this spring, you're going to end up paying more than you would have if you took the time right now to get your credit handled. The third thing that you're going to want to do right now, if you're even remotely considering moving in the spring, is you're going to want to review your options for new homes, new places to live. Now, what a lot of people do is they go online to sites like Zillow or they go to Realtor.com. I always recommend people go to my website, which is estevens.reesnichols.com. And there you can find the most accurate and up-to-date listings. Sometimes when you're surfing the web on real estate websites, they don't always have the most accurate and up-to-date listings, and you end up looking at listings that are already sold. Now, you're doing this just to get an idea of prices. You're doing it to get an idea of what homes look like and what they cost around where you want to live. Okay, so if you want to live 5 minutes from work, there is definitely the ability to go online. There's actually even websites out there that you can use where you can say, I want to be 5 minutes from this location, and it will draw a not a complete perfect circle, but something like a radius around that spot, everything 5 minutes away, and you've got an idea of where to look for homes. And it takes into consideration things like traffic and whether or not you're on the highway. So 5 minutes away if you're on a highway is a lot further than 5 minutes away if you're on a back street somewhere. And so there are websites like that. I think they're called like time radius websites where you can check that sort of thing out. But you're going to want to review your housing options. You're going to want to think about all of your options and not rule anything out preliminarily. So you might want to consider renting for a while. You may want to consider buying a condo or buying a maintenance provided home like a villa. You may want to buy a single family residence, right? You may consider any of those options. There's more options than just those. Those are the main ones that I deal with. And really just try to think about, okay, if I were to go that route, is that something I would be happy in? If I were to go this route, is this something I would be happy in? And start to play with, what those options are with a real estate agent. So this would be a good time to, if you haven't already, speak with a real estate agent that you trust, somebody that you know, somebody you think is going to do a good job taking care of you, and talk with them also about what your options are. Because you don't want to go just based on what the internet is telling you. You always want to talk to a professional whenever possible. And most real estate agents are going to be more than happy to talk to you about these things, and they're not going to charge you for these things. So whether you talk to me or you talk to another real estate agent, you should be able to sit with them and get an idea of what housing options are best for you. Usually they call that a buyer consultation. So ask for a buyer consultation and you'll be able to talk with them about what your options are. And the last thing that you're going to want to talk about with them and also review yourself is the moving process, right? Because it's not always really fun to move. I find sometimes people find it very difficult to move, especially when they're trying to sell their homes themselves. They don't know how to go about it the right way, or just people who have never reached out to an agent for help, they have found that it's not always very straightforward, and sometimes they make costly mistakes. And the stress of moving, a lot of the stress comes from not knowing the steps and not knowing what to do next. So by bringing on a professional who can explain and guide you through that moving process, you're going to be in the least stressful position possible and in the best position possible to make money when you do sell your home, or at least when you buy your home, be able to get a good deal on it if you don't have a home to sell. So those 4 steps, just to recap those for you, is we're going to review our current living situation before the end of the year in preparation for 2018, spring 2018. Am I happy here? Do I feel like keeping my place updated in line with the other homes in the neighborhood? Is the location ideal for me and my current life, my current work environment, my current familial status? Okay. The second thing we want to do is we want to check our credit. Okay, we want to check and make sure that our credit is good, and that we can do that either by talking to a lender, or by talking to a credit repair center, or by going on something like Credit Karma, which is a less accurate way. But going on some kind of program to monitor our credit and make sure our credit is high, it's in the best possible position it can be in, just so you can keep your options open for 2018 spring. And you don't have to pay more than you should, either for a mortgage or for homeowner's insurance. The third thing you're going to want to do is review your options for a different home. And a lot of times people go online, they kind of browse online. estevens.reesnichols.com is going to have the most up-to-date homes, whether they're villas, townhomes, duplexes, single-family residences, etc. They're all going to be there, at least in the Kansas City metropolitan area. And that would also be a good time for you to reach out to your listing agent, your buyer's agent, your real estate agent, and talk with them about what your housing options are. And number 4, what I think is going to be the most profitable thing for you to do is speak with them about the moving process, and really have somebody that you know and trust who's a licensed real estate agent go over the steps with you, go over the process with you, so you understand, get any of your questions answered, so that when and if you decide to move, it can be a clear, stress-free, and profitable venture for you and your family. Now, why am I telling you this? There's a lot of people that are thinking in the back of their head, after the holiday smoke is clear, I should probably move. And if you're thinking that, the time to act on these 4 steps is right now. So replay this video if you missed something, or you can always message me directly. I'd love to help you and your family make the transition if you think you'd like to transition. It's Edward Stevens from the Stevens Group at Rees Nichols. Looking forward to hearing from you. Until next time, I'll see you maybe one day at the closing table. Bye-bye.